History is usually taught as a neat timeline of dates, battles, and famous figures. We learn about kings and queens, empires rising and falling, and the progress of civilization. It's a story of heroes and villains, triumphs and tragedies. But what if the past we've been taught is a sanitized version? What if the reality of daily life for most people throughout history was far stranger, far dirtier, and far more brutal than we can possibly imagine? Let's pull back the curtain on the official story and explore the dark, hidden corners of what really happened. The truth is often more shocking than fiction. Imagine a sunny afternoon in a medieval town. The square is packed with people, men, women, and even children. But they aren't here for a market or a festival. They've gathered to watch a public execution. Far from being a somber, hidden affair, punishment in the past was a form of mass entertainment. Torture and executions were spectacles designed to entertain the crowds and serve as a terrifying warning. People would cheer, jeer, and treat the event like a modern-day sporting match. The line between justice and public amusement was terrifyingly thin. This wasn't about hiding the grim realities of power. It was about flaunting it in the most gruesome way possible. The screams of the condemned were part of the day's soundtrack, a chilling reminder of how different their world was from ours. It was a society where suffering was not only accepted, but was also a form of public theater, a brutal show for the masses. Now, let's step into the world of medieval medicine. If you fell ill, you wouldn't be met with sterile equipment and scientific knowledge. Instead, you'd likely encounter a doctor who believed your sickness was caused by bad air or an imbalance of your four bodily humors: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. The cures were often more dangerous than the diseases themselves. Gut, a fever. The doctor might perform bloodletting, draining a significant amount of your blood with leeches or a knife, believing it would restore balance. This, of course, only weakened an already sick patient. Plagues were thought to be spread by miasma, a poisonous vapor, leading to the iconic plague doctor masks with long beaks filled with herbs to purify the air. These cures were based on superstition and guesswork, and for many, a visit from the doctor was a death sentence. It was an era where medicine often killed instead of cured, a terrifying lottery of survival. Let's move from the doctor's chamber to the halls of a medieval castle. Forget the fairy tale images of gleaming stone walls and pristine courtyards. The reality was much filthier. Castles were cold, damp, and incredibly dirty. With no central heating, they were freezing in the winter, the air thick with smoke from open fires. And what about sanitation? There was none. Toilets, known as garderobes, were often just stone chutes that emptied directly down the outside of the castle wall into a moat or a pit below. Waste was everywhere. Inside, people threw food scraps and bones on the floor for dogs to eat. Outside the walls, city streets were open sewers, filled with human and animal waste, garbage, and mud. The stench would have been overwhelming. Castles weren't elegant palaces. They were fortified, functional, and frankly, disgusting places to live, a world away from the romanticized image we have today. Let's travel further back, to the sun-drenched arenas of ancient Rome. We often picture gladiators as condemned prisoners forced to fight to the death for the amusement of a bloodthirsty crowd. While the fights were brutal, the reality was more complex. Gladiators were not just disposable slaves. They were highly trained, expensive investments. Think of them as the superstar athletes of their day. They had trainers, special diets, and received top-tier medical care. Most fights didn't even end in death. A gladiator who fought well and survived was a valuable asset, and their owners weren't keen on losing them. They were celebrities, adored by the public. Fans would buy merchandise with their favorite gladiator's image, and some even achieved wealth and freedom. They were symbols of strength and skill, but their fame was built on a foundation of brutal, life-or-death combat in the Colosseum. Finally, let's look at the pockets of a Roman soldier. What did he get paid with? Sometimes, it wasn't coins, it was salt. In the ancient world, salt was incredibly valuable. It was essential for preserving food, especially meat, in an age before refrigeration. It was so crucial for survival that it was used as a form of currency. Roman soldiers, stationed far from home, would receive a portion of their pay as a salt allowance. known as a salarium. This is the direct origin of our modern word salary. Imagine being paid for your hard work, not with money you can put in a bank, but with a block of seasoning. It highlights how different their concepts of wealth and value were. The phrase "worth your salt" comes from this very practice, meaning you were competent and deserved your pay. That common expression is a direct link to a time when a simple mineral was as good as gold. The past wasn't polite. It wasn't clean. It was a landscape of brutal realities, where life was fragile and often short. Public torture was entertainment. Medicine was a gamble. Homes were filthy, and superstars fought for their lives in front of cheering crowds. Yet, through all the grime, the brutality, and the shocking strangeness, people endured. They survived, adapted, and somehow built the foundations of the world we live in today. History isn't just a collection of sanitized stories. It's a raw, complex, and often dark tapestry that reveals the true, unfiltered nature of humanity. And understanding that darkness helps us appreciate the light we live in now. If these hidden truths of history surprised you, and you want to explore more what-ifs that challenge what you think you know, make sure to subscribe for more. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.